Hi there, ladies and gentlemen, especially Oxford Brookes University Research and Analysis Project candidates. This video is specially being made for you. We'll get right into it without any long discussions. As you know, a gentle reminder is, as you can see in the banner on the screen, the period 45 as I'm creating this video. The November 2022 submission periods mentoring process is commencing at the moment. So if you're interested in working with me as your mentor, you can find the link below and register immediately and get started with. This video in particular is going to be very, very useful to you because we are going to look at something extremely important in the theme of the three biggest reasons for candidates failing the Oxford Brookes University Research and Analysis Project. Now, if you can truly take some time, take a moment to contemplate on these three reasons, it will help you avoid some of the biggest misconceptions that students have as they go into this particular endeavor. The first is the underestimation of the OBU's standards and the demand that the project itself has of you. The second is the misunderstanding of what exactly this research and analysis project is. Even though you read the information pack, even though you get information, even though you talk to certain candidates who have done the exam, your friends, colleagues, there's a gross misunderstanding about what this project is among candidates. And the third is the mismanagement of the time that is required for the research and analysis project, which is a more common form of mistake that students do. But I think the reason for the third occurrence, the third reason, or the cause for the third reason is actually the first two. So let's try and understand what these three reasons are. So as I said, reason one is underestimation. Why do I say that? When it comes to Oxford Brookes University, they have extremely high expectations of you. And I'll tell you why. Do you know that the standard tuition fee for this particular university's project, or rather the degree itself, the BSc honors degree in accounting and finance, is for home-based students, that is UK-based students, 9,500 sterling pounds. And for international students, it's being valued at about 14,500 sterling pounds. So these are candidates who are spending their time between 3 to 4 years on campus, full time, engaged, and absorbing all of that knowledge, all of the modules that they're supposed to learn. Now, in contrast, you have a great opportunity. You're not even spending this much money for nearly, I think, about 500 sterling pounds of an investment. You're getting a degree that is valued at this level. So obviously, if Oxford Brookes University has to take this particular pathway seriously, it has to match the standards expected of you along with the candidates who do the entire degree, because you're coming through an ACCA pathway. So in terms of value, think about it. You're getting on average a 14,500 sterling pound valued degree program for a fraction of that amount through your ACCA pathway, because you've done the studies necessary for it. And do you expect OBU to discount the standards that they maintain just because you come through a pathway? Absolutely not. And that is the reason why that even the long-standing relationship that they have, the Oxford Brookes University has with ACCA, is maintained at the highest possible standards, where even if a single syllabus update is occurring in any of the professional level papers or the F6, F7, F8, F9 papers, that is even done through a consultation process, through a give and take relationship with the university, because your education, your ACCA education, has a direct impact to whether you can be an eligible candidate for the Oxford Brookes University BSc honors degree. The quality expectation of the output is also raised with every session, meaning that when you look at candidates, there is a very high level of competitiveness, and that has raised the standards even further. The project, or a project that would have earned a grade A 3 years ago, would very likely not earn that same grade today, because the number of candidates, which is another point, the growing number of candidates raises the bar even further. So the number of candidates who are taking this pathway has grown, has increased. Oxford Brookes University's popularity in the United Kingdom and on the world rankers of universities has also grown, which has attracted more candidates to it itself, the university inbound programs. So with all of this, the higher competitiveness, the larger number of candidates sending in a larger number of entries for the BSc honors thesis itself has raised the bar. Automatically, it has raised the bar that ultimately demands more of you. Hence, considering all of this, what I've realized is that students tend to underestimate the university, mostly because they are unaware of what this is all about. And also, students underestimate the RAP project itself because they think, or rather, I feel because there is a sense of privilege that comes with this quick entry. Even though your ACCA journey itself may have been a hard-fought journey, this quick entry into this itself seems a little privileged. That leads to certain candidates underestimating this project. So my dear fellow students, my dear brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, do not underestimate this project. That will definitely lead to failure. So you need to be very, very careful. Absolutely, underestimation of the university or underestimating the project itself is not a recommended state of existence if you are a candidate who is taking this particular pathway and hoping to become a bachelor's degree holder. The second reason is misunderstanding itself. So when you look at misunderstanding, this is a very primary cause of failure. And when you think about it, to simplify the effort or to simplify what this misunderstanding is all about, if you look at the actual label that the university has given to this project, we call it the OBU, or the Oxford Brookes University's Research and Analysis Project. This is what you do, right? However, most often I see students who take this project, they think that this project is Oxford Brookes University's writing project with very little research and analysis. So you need to think, when you plan for this effort, when you think about what you're supposed to do, if you're going to undertake this project, are you really thinking it as it should be? Meaning the first one, the actual label, the research and analysis project, or are you thinking that this is a project where you have to write 7,500 words and the research and the analysis effort is actually going to be relatively less? What's your thinking behind this? Because when you analyze most candidates who fail and who come to me for resubmissions, etc., and the course correction that I have to do with many candidates is that the amount of effort is not where it should be. Students tend to think of the project as a writing assignment of delivering 7,500 words with some basic research and even less analysis work and assume that they will pass. However, this is not the right way, because it is the completely incorrect and wrong approach to take. The project is not about writing. It's not your writing skill. It's not a writing skill test. Writing is actually the form of expression of your work. You do a lot of work and then you express it through your writing. And to explain this even further, to make it even more clearer to you, the actual focus of this project is the research and analysis. That's why the name that the university has given to it is RAP, Research and Analysis Project. There is no writing. The term is not even mentioned there. If you think about the effort in terms of percentages, this actually means that 80 to 90%, and this is my judgment based on all these years of mentoring, 80 to 90% of your total effort, your entire effort, must actually be on the research and analysis. Those are the two verbs, researching and analysis. That's where 80 to 90% of your effort should be, which I call the iceberg. I'll tell you why. The more extensive your research and analysis is, the better the output, That's one thing, because you definitely need to match the standard. As I mentioned earlier, you cannot underestimate it. The greater level you will find in the originality of your work, which is another main reason why candidates seem to be failing, because of plagiarism results affecting their output. The work seems less original. This, when the amount of depth they have gone in their effort is so little or so short fallen, that it doesn't really take you the necessary distance to come up with original thinking, to come up with original observations, original research observations, original analysis derivations in terms of what your project should be, because you're not going the distance that you should be going. It's a marathon, but you're finishing it in 100 meters or 400 meters. That's the kind of effort that this kind of misunderstanding leads to. And greater the originality will be if your research and analysis work is extensive, and higher the quality, and ultimately closer to OBU standards expected of you. Only the final 10 to 20% of the effort goes to the actual writing, which is only, as I said, a form of expression. So if you think about it, you know this tip of the iceberg theory, right? You know that if you look at an iceberg, even what Titanic came across with is that the tip of the iceberg is very little. The portion that you see of the ocean, on top of the ocean, is very little. There's a huge chunk, a mass chunk under the sea that you don't see. That's what the research and analysis project is about. When you send in your project, they get, or the OBU reviewer gets, a 7,500 word document. That's what they get. No questions asked, right? It's a 20 page, 25 page document. But behind that document is the tip of the iceberg, which we see. But behind that document should be a plethora of research and analysis work. This is an absolute necessary matter that you need to understand. If you understand this properly, you will be on the right track. So never forget this. If you mix this up, if you think that this is not the research and analysis project, but the writing project with very little research and very little analysis, as long as I've written 7,500 words, I'm good, then my dear friend, my brother, sister, candidate, my fellow student, I'm telling you, you are going on a dangerous, or you're treading on dangerous grounds. Don't let that happen. Be smart about it. Make sure that you have a clear understanding of what this project is, and I hope this has helped you. The final reason, the third reason, is actually a very straightforward one. It's an easy one, and also the most common reason of failure. This happens due to either one, underestimation, the first point I told you, or two, misunderstanding. So some candidates, or three, both. Some candidates also underestimate this project, underestimate the university, also misunderstand what this whole thing is about. I meet candidates like that all the time, and I have to correct their thinking. And I'm hoping that this video will help a lot of candidates like that. And four, sometimes neither, because I also meet candidates, who are busy with their professional lives, who are busy with their family, juggling a lot of things. So they do have a good understanding. They don't underestimate the effort, but they don't have the necessary amount of time, or there's poor planning involved. So either for any of these four reasons, candidates tend to often completely mismanage their time. You cannot let this happen. Fundamentally, what's happening is that there is a severe lack of planning, which is seen among many candidates. And I'll give you proof. I'm trying to give you proof, actually. If you look at personally, with my experience over the past 3 to 4 years of mentoring, I've witnessed a 40% non-submission and postponement rate among mentees who choose to work with me. 40%, meaning if 10 candidates, I work with a limited number of candidates every session. For example, if I take 10 candidates, every session, only about 6 to 7 of them submit. There's at least 2 to 3 candidates who ultimately close to the deadline, who say, I've not done enough work, or we go through the mentoring process, we go through the final phases of the reviews, and I'm able to clearly point out that this project is not going to pass if you go ahead with this. And it does not meet the exact requirements or the expectations of the university by any means. by any close means at all. And you have no idea how many times I've had to tell this to candidates. And even if you look at period 44, which is the last submission period, I can tell you that almost about about 6 to 7 candidates had to defer. There were a couple of candidates I couldn't even, we had finished about 3 to 4 meetings. We had looked at some of the partial reviews of the project. And then closer to the deadline, I never even heard from them. There was nothing. I usually send out an email reminder with certain updates. I never heard back. After the submission period is over, I hear from them saying, had to postpone, sorry about this, etc., etc. So it's not that postponing or deferment is a bad thing. If it's the sensible thing to do, you should definitely consider it. It's something I myself recommend if the project is not up to standards. However, poor time management is actually a wasteful effort. If you are someone who doesn't really have the time to waste, if it's better, and it's always better to get the degree sooner rather than later, because you never know, you might be doing a full-time job now, okay, and let's say you only can give about 5 hours a week, but you never know, the next submission period this might be even less. What if you get a promotion? What if you get married? What if you have a child, right? What if your personal responsibilities increase? What if life throws at you various challenges, right? What if something unexpected happens that requires your time and effort? So it's better to utilize the current 5 hours, because you can do it with that, and get this over with and try to attempt to get the degree sooner than later. This is, how many times have I had to repeat this on one-to-ones? I have no idea. It can be probably in the thousandth. So I'm telling you, my fellow student, my fellow candidate, and anyone who's considering the OBU RAP initiative, please think about this. In addition, another observation I can share with you is that there are many mentoring inquiries that reach me in the last 1 to 2 month period before submission, which is further proof of this aspect. Now, as I said, I work with a limited number of mentees, and this is usually a quota that is filled in the initial months, because I'm always stressing on this point of starting early, because it keeps the whole effort smooth. However, I always end up with inquiries, and sometimes I tell them no, I tell candidates no, and sometimes I get insisted upon this. No, let's work, I can do this. And it's almost rare where someone whom I clearly clarify to them how much time and effort is needed, and then they commit, we go into the effort, and very rarely has it happened where a candidate has been able to fulfill that promise of giving that time and commitment. In almost 90% of the cases, I can assure you, candidates have failed to commit to the amount of time they thought they could give because of various reasons. So poor time management due to severe lack of planning is a huge reason for failure. None of these are good signs. My strong advice and recommendation here is a minimum of 4 months. 4 months of committed effort is required for a grade A, a minimum, mind you. Every candidate I have worked with who has got a grade A, unless the rare case of phenomenal writing and good research capabilities, unless that is the case with a candidate, unless they possess those kind of extraordinary skills, which is not extraordinary in and of themselves, but extraordinary only considering those areas. So this is not a judgment about the quality of the person in any manner. Every candidate who has gotten a grade A has minimum, at best, worked for 4 months, and has even engaged with me for at least 5 meetings, at least 5 regular occurrences, frequent meetings, frequent clarifications go into that effort, only from the mentoring, but their research, the iceberg that we don't see of these candidates is huge. There's that much of work that goes into it. Or if a grade A is not really your target, if you're just looking for a pass grade, a minimum of 3 months of committed effort is required for a pass grade. Think about it. OBU has only 2 submissions, right? 2. one in May, one in November. So they divide the year into two, biannual. That's 6 months. That's OBU's estimation. Imagine the standard they try to maintain. It's always, for the university, it's obviously lucrative to have multiple submissions. To have 3 would be to get more students repeating or more students frequenting the submission, meaning more money. But that is not their concern. Their concern is fundamentally the quality. And they know that for this project, look at the material they have provided, the information pack, a very extensive document which has so much information for you as guidelines, which you can check out in the 5 key mistakes that students tend to do. My other video, which is on the YouTube channel, you can definitely consider reviewing that to avoid the main mistakes. But the idea is that you need to give the necessary time. So in a nutshell, there are 3 main reasons why candidates fail the OBU RAP project. The first is a gross underestimation of the university's expectation and the standard and the demand that the RAP project itself is going to ask you. The second is misunderstanding of the project actually. And the third is a mismanagement of time, and you need to avoid all of these 3. On that note, I hope that the project, or rather the video, will be useful and you will take this information in to your general understanding of how to plan for this project and go into it with a strong mindset, with a better preparedness, with a better readiness, so that you can ace this challenge. And on that note, I'm once again extending the invitation. As of now, I'm accepting candidates for my mentoring process for the period 45 November 2022, or at a future point, if you're watching this video, you're always welcome to reach out. You can find the link below. On that note, good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great effort. My best wishes. See you around.